It's telling that every single community you try to join, you claim that it's the community at fault, not you. What makes you better than Jewish people who kept Torah for thousands of years? If it's one community, it's one thing. But every single community you play the victim by Jewish people just trying to teach you how to be a Jew. There's something very wrong. I've tried to help you in the past, but you've slandered me and others. You're unteachable because of your pride and thinking you can teach Torah to those who have kept it. You also have posts saying that Hashem is causing this war against Yisrael, Has v'Helom. You claim it's because you're a victim. You post alt-right propaganda and then claim you're a victim because you don't like how a shul won't let you lead a community. You can't make a minyan, yet you want to lead one. I'm glad you're backing off this path. We have enough issues today without worrying about a goy who thinks he needs to be a community leader when he hasn't even converted yet because he causes trouble everywhere he goes. I have taken the liberty to post this publicly because if I went private, you would twist my words like you've done to everyone else.
This video is intended to expose the character and moral flaws of Noachide's less than favorable views when it comes to women and minors. I'm doing this video and not writing a post because he decided he wanted to move his happy ass down in my community, and then he also dropped some veiled threats. This video is intended to give the people in this community and the people around this man the information to make an educated decision on whom they allow into their life and in their community. Am I biased in this video? Yes, extremely biased. I take the safety and innocence of children very seriously, and I also take the safety of my family very seriously. And I believe this Noachide to potentially be a threat to them both. Heads up, the language and topics in this video are less than pleasant or favorable, so just a forewarning to any children that may be in the room or anybody who just flat out doesn't want to hear it. The Noachide who put common sense and time out is none other than Ohio's own Tzion Barliv, which, since someone called him out on his detestable defense of predators and begging for money because he wanted to bring dollar store morality to my neighborhood, well, it just so happens that he trimmed his beard to match his knowledge of Lashon Hara and for the second time changed his name back to a Gaelic one, Mr. Brian McComas, as he now goes by. Also used to run the YouTube channel Tzion Talks, but after looking for it, it appears as though that endeavor lasted about as long as his Jewish name did. Here's the backstory to the meme. As many of us know, Hollywood has many problems and woke Disney is only one of them. I came across this post right here and was shocked to find many of my favorite musicians and celebrities were on it. I did a little research and found that the post's claims were true. The girls in the photos were young teens when they began their relationships with the adult companions in the photos. But don't you worry. Mr. Barliv mounted his white donkey and came to these poor men's defense as they were clearly victims of these young, deceitful women. He accused me of slander against men and slander against marriage, which, just like his bio, he came up with that one on his own because I never attacked marriage. He doesn't have the receipts either. But I guess now is the point in the video where I break down each side's arguments and accusations and you decide for yourself. Mr. Barliv's argument that adult men dating or marrying teens is perfectly fine based on several factors are summed up here. 1. What is the legal age of marriage in their states of residence? 2. How does the minor act? Are they mature for their age? Are they on the same mental level as the men that they are being courted by? 3. Do they look like a minor, or do they have an adult body? 4. His definition of a pedophile changes throughout the debate, starting with a pedophile being anyone who is attracted to a child, and eventually, as he is pushed, evolving to anyone who is attracted to a child, preteen or teen. And again, these 4 bullet points, they're not his exact arguments, they're summaries of everything that he wrote, which you will see for yourself. My argument is, if she's under 18, hands off. Given, I do believe in exceptions for situations where one of the partner ages out of the minor category before the other. There's different laws. To me, I don't care how old they look though. I don't care how old they act. Life experience cannot be replaced with someone who is mature for their age, as there are life experiences they still have not gone through that will unequivocally mold them. Now, let's go through some definitions Mr. Barliv didn't.
What is a pedophile?
Oxford Dictionary defines it as a person who is sexually attracted to children.
What is a child?
A young human being below the age of puberty or below the legal age of majority.
What is the legal age of majority?
That is the legal threshold of adulthood. Every state in the United States has that threshold at 18 except for Alabama and Nebraska, who's ahead of the game, recognizing maturity must be on its union-mandated smoke break these days, and well, they set it at 19. Before I break down this melody of madness, I want you to hear and read the initial arguments for yourself. I did not include a full reading of the other arguments on other people's timelines because just like Disney, he just keeps on remaking the same old tired story with no originality. For the recycled arguments, I only point out how they contradict his previous statements and claims to the nth degree of maybe he should have just kept his mouth shut and kept his opinions to himself, because by the end of the argument, he ends up agreeing that a pedophile is a person who goes after children, preteens, and teens to his own default.
There is some slander here. First, Priscilla was of legal age and married to Elvis. She doesn't even look anything like a teenager. Several others were married in this photo. Someone being married doesn't make them a pedophile. It's crazy how this idea has become popular. There's clearly 13-year-olds that look like children, and then there's 13-year-olds that look and act like 27-year-olds. Go to clubs, have plenty of adults giving them attention. And you can't say it's the same issue. The issue is 2 points. What age is legal to marry? It differs in states. And does the person you say is a pedophile, are they dating someone who looks 30? I mean, Jesus, look at Seinfeld's photo up there. That girl at 17 looks older than him. She looks easily 47. Slander is a serious problem today. Accusing someone of pedophile behavior strikes a nerve with folks. They think of adults preying on children. If you think that 17-year-old looks like a child, I'd suggest you having your eyes checked. She looks older than Seinfeld. So the real issue is, what is the age of legal marriage? I couldn't imagine people saying this about others. Hollywood is full of actual pedophiles. But the majority on that are far from that. Adult men being attracted to women with adult bodies is normal. Maida Garcia at 16 years looks older than Prince whenever he was 32. Look at Lane Skye. If you were to say she looks 16, I'd suggest you need glasses. Adults being attracted to adults is normal. I'm 46. I would pray and hope that if I married a legal up-age adult woman, that nobody would accuse me of being a pedophile. Especially when the woman clearly doesn't have the looks or body of a child. That's just common sense and decency. Go after the real pedos, please. This was nothing but slander.
16 is not an adult, man.
I never said 16 is an adult. Read what I pointed out and what I said and where I said the issues are. If all you see is the number 16, then the issue now becomes 1. Are they legal to marry, and is the other person married to them? 2. Does this 16-year-old look like a child, or does the 16-year-old look much older, like an adult? Do you not realize attacking the idea of a 16-year-old being in a relationship means you would be attacking all the 14 to 16-year-olds and younger that are emancipated as adults by judges, especially in cases where the adult parents were killed? What about the states that allow for 16-year-olds to marry? Are you suggesting those 16-year-olds who are married are somehow violating the law? If so, which law? This prime issue is slander, but getting into the heart of it all, I dropped the other issues. I never suggested 16 is an adult. If you are going with the idea that 16 isn't an adult and that's all you care about, what's an adult? I know 46-year-olds who act worse than children. I know a 67-year-old woman that destroyed a community acting immature and doing a lot of bad things. If your argument is it isn't legal, I already covered that. If your argument is they aren't 18, well, plenty of nations say 18 isn't an adult yet. Again, the prime issue is slander. But getting into it, I broke down the issues within reasoning. Would I care if my daughter at 16 got married to a 30-year-old man? No. That doesn't bring up questions of his character or her immaturity and maturity. Obviously, if the 30-year-old guy was a bad dude, then yes, I'd have issues. But his age isn't the issue. Character is. Then comes the question of how does a 16-year-old girl even get with a 40-year-old? I know the answer, and it seems you're avoiding it. I worked at bars and bounced. I kicked out girls underage all the time. Youngest we caught was 12, posting as a 22 with a fake ID. So do you think the men who decided to hit on her were somehow at fault? Especially if she shows a fake ID? If so, that's just sexist and odd. Time and time again, these girls pretend to be older. I know. I have a 12-year-old niece that is taller than most average men. She doesn't look under 20, and when she's out, I have to tell the 20 to 40-year-old men she's 12, and no one believes me. Why would I be mad at the guys trying to come up to her? She obviously doesn't look like a child.
Dude, I don't give two shits what the law is, and I don't care how old they look. If you're 24 and you're being romantic with a 16-year-old, you're a pedo. And that sucks, because Prince was the shit. The argument of emancipation, etc., it's a red herring, as law does not dictate age-based morality. A 16-year-old does not have the life experience to deal with a 24-year-old, and I don't know of one state that would allow that large of a gap before 18. If you're okay with a 16-year-old being intimate with a 30-year-old man, that's up. I've had first-hand experience of having to go through reports like that and read the victim statements and interviews. It those kids up for life. And then, when you arrest the adult, the son of a bitch, like he didn't do shit and says, oh, well, emotionally she wasn't 16. But God forbid if you put the cuffs on just a little bit too snug, all of a sudden it's police brutality. Jesus Christ. And you have the god balls to talk about them not looking their age? What in the fairy frosted does that prove? That sounds like you're telling me that plowing a young girl just because she looks of age is fair game. And what fucking answer am I avoiding about a 16-year-old ending up with a 40-year-old? If you think this is me avoiding shit, then please enlighten me.
You are arguing with emotions and the assumption that the adult is with a child. I was pointing out that none of the women in the photos even remotely look like children. In most cases, they look older than the guys, and I was pointing out the legal age laws of marriage. You were slandering people who have never been known to chase kids. I thought you'd listen. I made very good points in logic. That woman Prince married who was younger absolutely does not look like a child or a teen. True or false? So now you have to ask the question, how did they meet and get together? Do you honestly think she said, oh, I'm 17, and he said, never mind that. If you think this, you are delusional. These young girls who appear as women lie all the time about their age. I even told you about my experiences kicking them out of bars and clubs. Slander is slander. But being a pedophile means there is an adult that is attracted to minors or is in a relationship with a minor. So when you get younger girls that look in their 20s hitting on men in their 20s and lying, how does that make the men pedophiles? Use your brain.
You're damn right I'm arguing with emotions, and no, it's not an assumption. A 39-year-old with a 17-year-old is categorically an adult with a child. I know you're perfectly fine with it because for you it's all about looks, as you have stated several times in every reply. However, you saying that they don't look their age tells me that your age odometer is set back a few years too far. It's not slander because their ages are facts, not opinions. No, you made points that a pedo would say were good. And again, you talk about how they look, which means you think if they look old enough, it's fine. You even said you'd be fine with your daughter marrying a 30-year-old man. And while we're at it, false. She does look like a teen, and your mind is just It's funny, you accuse me of slander, but then you claim these girls are lying about their ages. Jesus, you're a fucking hypocrite. Yes, a minor is anyone under the age of 18, but by your logic, a minor is only anyone who looks under 20. You seriously are a pedo apologist. And you know what? I attached the definition of slander. Read it and get fucked. As you can clearly see, he is advocating that age is not a factor for morality of the marriage. As I will show later, the only way I know how to take this argument is that the biggest factor is what does their body look like? Does it look like an adult body? Well, if she looks like she has an adult body, it's fair game. And please, if by the end of this anyone has a different view and they feel he's not advocating for pedophiles, please comment below. I'm sure everyone would love to know what your argument is and would love to know who agrees with them. And on the contrary, if you think these arguments are bad and they do support pedophilia, go ahead and show some support and comment as well. Now that you've heard the initial arguments, please allow me to dissect his argument like an incel on OnlyFans. First, he says he doesn't believe that 16 is an adult, but then questions my argument that 16 isn't an adult by talking about people in their 40s and 60s who don't act like adults. This is the first sign to me that he believes that 16 can be an adult for the concerns of marriage and intimacy. Otherwise, there's no need to debate a position that we both agree on. That makes no sense, as there's clearly no need to play devil's advocate here when talking about the morality of the issue, not the legality of it. Second, his argument of plenty of nations say 18 isn't an adult is a red herring fallacy, as he may want to follow Sharia law, but we're in the United States and we follow the United States laws. Now, let's pivot to his argument about the legality of it. He brings up the legality of the age of marriage and then follows it up with his trusted, do they look 16? Just because something is legal does not make it moral. Slander is legal, though it can be adjudicated in civil court. It is considered immoral socially. Marrying a 16-year-old when you're 40 is legal, but you're going to be looked at as immoral nonetheless. And you'll soon find Mr. Bartlett cries slander just as much as CNN cries racist. Take a look at this pedophile probability map. I live in North Carolina, and according to this map, as long as the parents sign off on it, I could marry a 14-year-old, and I'm 40. How about Mr. Barliv's home state of manic road rage, whose primary exports are O311s and depression, also known as Ohio? Turns out that as long as they have the parents' blessing, they are free to be married. The Dayton Daily News covered a story of a 14-year-old marrying a 48-year-old. A quote from the Dayton Daily News goes,
Tessie Wright was 14 and pregnant on December 2nd, 2002, when her mother and father, Donald and Brenda Wright, and Gallia County Judge William S. Medley all gave their approval for her to marry Richard E. Siders. The groom was 48.
While Mr. Barliv may say he condemns this large of an age gap, his previous arguments are just as damning as his Google search history, I'm sure. Who knows? Maybe this 14-year-old looked like an adult, and based on how he views the girls in the meme, his version of an adult body could gain him a guest appearance with Chris Hansen. However, he later DM'd me and made it clear that even he wouldn't condemn this case because, in his own words,
You already know marriage is sacred, and once a minor is married, we can't say anything.
Yeah, there, Barliff. Remember that next time you want to talk to a Muslim about Aisha. Anyways, tell me I'm wrong. I got the receipts right here. Anywho, so whenever Mr. Barliff says,
If you're going with the idea that 16 isn't an adult and that's all you care about, what's an adult?
Clearly Ohio public schools have failed here. Well, their teachers can't tell you what a woman is. Mr. Barliff can't even tell you what an adult is. His next defense of adults who bring a whole new meaning to wanting Girl Scout cookies is how the girls act. He claims to know a 46-year-old who acts worse than a child, and a 67-year-old that destroyed a community, acting immature and doing quote-unquote bad things. To which I would ask Mr. Barliv, did they look like adults though? Let's take life experience out of the freezer for just a second to recognize that acting immature does not mean that they lack maturity, as in life experiences and mental development. It means that they have suspended the learning from those experiences unless they're mentally disabled. Clearly, Mr. Barliv could have benefited from watching a few episodes of How to Catch a Predator.
I'm Chris Hansen, and this is an investigation called Hansen versus Predator.
But seriously, anyone who would consider actions over age for a relationship is someone who put maturity for themselves on hold, probably at puberty. Being mature has a variety of areas to cover. Just because a child is mature enough to have more responsibilities at an earlier age does not translate to mentally and emotionally prepared to be in an intimate relationship with an adult. That's a correlation fallacy. And now for my pet peeve, the whole entire argument of his of, do they look like a minor or do they have an adult body? Jesus Christ. I swear he didn't investigate the meme or R. Kelly before making that statement. It's almost like he wants to be Subway's next spokesperson, because that argument wouldn't even have come out of Jerry Harris's mouth. First, looks are subjective to a wide degree. That's why whenever he claims he was a bouncer, which in reality he probably only checked IDs, but that's just the case. He checked IDs, not bra size. Looks don't mean anything next to age. I mean, hello, have you seen the hormones that go into our food these days? He claimed none of the girls in the memes looked like children, which I completely disagree. He says Shoshana Lowenstein, looked like she was 47 in the picture in the meme. I tell you what, Mr. Barliff, let me help you see the picture in a way that you'll see her age. There you go. There is the 17-year-old Shoshana here in this picture, and then there is the 47-year-old Shoshana in this picture. The reason that she doesn't look 17 in the meme is because that picture, she's 21. Jeez. Does anyone want to send this guy a lifeline and tell him to set his odometer for age from Epstein to average? This is what got me the most. He keeps bringing up how old they looked and then trying to gaslight with the argument of adults are attracted to adults' bodies and that's perfectly normal. And that's fine. And he's right, that's perfectly normal. But it doesn't justify being intimate with them. It doesn't justify marrying them after finding out their age. And thinking that these girls look like an adult, that's just, oh man, he exposed himself on that one. Oh, unless I be accused of purposely overlooking his emancipation argument. Emancipation has nothing to do with a minor being mentally an adult or it being morally okay for an adult to be with them. If it did, they'd be able to do adult things like smoke, drink, go to strip clubs on the way to the gun store, etc. What's even worse is Mr. Barliff took his pedophile defense super saying with some actual defamation, or slander as he liked to call it, and started blaming the situation on the girls themselves with such wonderful and Torah-backed comments as,
Then comes the question. How does a 16-year-old girl even get with a 40-year-old? I know that answer. It seems you're avoiding it.
and
So now you have to ask the question, how did they meet and get together? Do you honestly think she said, "Oh, I'm 17," and he said, "Never mind that"?
And finally,
These girls who appear as women lie all the time about their age.
but then, in a different thread, he says,
I never claimed all those girls hid their ages from those men.
and then he changes his story after he denies it, demands screenshots, and then twice ignores the screenshots. This is the contradiction he comes up with after ignoring the screenshots.
What screenshots of me slandering those girls? You posted a screenshot of me saying that if an adult is dating a minor and doesn't know it and finds out she's 17 and he says, "I'm out," that's a good thing. That he leaves. He protects himself. A pedo wouldn't say that. You posted this and didn't even read your own screenshots. Where did I say that?
I didn't read my own screenshot? My screenshot of his words were, "And they say, never mind that, laugh out loud." And his reading of my screenshot is, if he says I'm out, that's a good thing that he leaves. Nowhere in that screenshot does it say that the man said that. This is gaslighting at its finest. Don't believe your lying eyes, people. Here's one response that he gave to a friend that he decided to involve in the ordeal. I mean, apparently he was feeling left out.
Pedos chase children and teen bodies, not adult bodies. If a teen looks like an adult, all blame is on her for lying about her age. Period.
Damn. The force is strong with this one. And by force, I mean virginity. He immediately places blame on the teen, assuming he knows the circumstances. I mean, never mind the FBI statistics on grooming practices and gender. I mean, you be the judge. Compare the screenshot of what he said earlier to the screenshot of what he's claiming he said. You be the judge. Now let's take a moment to look at some of his contradictions in support of pedophilia.
Claim.
I've never justified pedophiles.
Contradiction.
The men can't be pedophiles if the ladies look older than the men. Hello.
Another contradiction of the same claim.
Age isn't the issue, character is.
Other than his age odometer being as accurate as the next congressional budget, he can't even stay consistent with what makes a man a tiny bopper chopper. Looks have nothing to do with it, age defines it. However, let's cut the men a break. If after they find out they cut it off, good for them. If not, if they continue, well, they're tiny baby bopper choppers.
Next claim.
I don't support adults with children.
Contradiction.
I can't fault my friend if he finds out his girlfriend is really 17 or even 16, when in reality she looks 24, and told people she's 24.
Another contradiction of the same claim.
You already know marriage is sacred, and once a minor is married, we can't say anything.
So it's not that you don't support adults with minors, it's you don't support it unless they're married. Yeah, 10 for that, King. If your religion holds marriage as being so sacred that an adult marrying a minor of any age can't be criticized, either your God's a pedophile or you traded in your Jesus-tinted glasses for a pedo pair. Either way, you're a sick bastard to hide behind marriage.
Claim.
Someone being married doesn't make them a pedophile.
Contradiction.
I've said it 3 times in that thread that pedophiles chase kids and children and teens and preteens, period.
So apparently, according to Pedo Apologetics 101, once a man marries a minor, they are no longer a pedophile.
Drizzle, drizzle.
Reality check, Mr. Barliv. The girl's age didn't magically change once she said, I do.
Claim.
Matei Garcia at 16 looks older than Prince when he was 32. Look at Lane Sky. If you were to say she looks 16, I suggest you need glasses. Adults being attracted to adults is normal.
Contradiction.
I'm against guys over 18 dating girls under 18.
According to his own argument here, it doesn't matter that she looked older. Oh, and Prince definitely knew how old she was. That's not even hidden in the media, it's very well documented. Also, the meme got it wrong with Lone Sky and Anthony Kiedis. He wasn't 24 in that photo, he was 27. That was taken at the 1989 MTV Music Awards, making Lone Sky 19 in that picture. If the girl still had a baby face like that at 19, imagine what she looked like at 16.
Claim.
Would I care if my daughter at 16 got married to a 30-year-old man? No. That doesn't bring up questions of his character or her maturity. Obviously, if the 30-year-old guy was a bad dude, then yes, I'd have issues. But age isn't the issue, character is.
Oh, Jesus. Everyone strap in for this one.
Contradiction.
Nowhere did I support or protect any adult attracted to children or teens.
Another contradiction of the same claim.
I've never suggested adults should be with minors.
Another contradiction of the same claim.
I'm against guys over 18 dating girls under 18.
Yeshua lo Mashiach. Which one is it, Pastor Barliv? 16 is a teenager, and 30 is over 18. How can you be against adults with minors or against men over 18 dating girls under 18 if you'd have no problem with your own 16-year-old daughter marrying a man who is twice her age?
Claim.
You are slandering people who have never been known to chase kids.
Contradiction.
We got some kind of detective over there. Is that Ben Matlock?
In your own words, not mine.
I've said it 3 times in that thread that pedophiles chase kids and children and teens and preteens, period.
Guess what, Mr. Barliv? Every girl in the meme was a teenager whenever they started dating an adult. By your own words, this can't be slander. Now, on to the reason he claims he did this. Slander. Which is Lashon Hara, halakhically speaking. Trust me though, if you start defending pedophiles, yeah, you're sure as shit gonna hear some Lashon Hara out of me. But anyways, so Mr. Barliv was like on his 50th attempt to convert to Orthodox Judaism, according to some of his, well, the people he thinks were his friends. Anyways, Lashon Hara in the Orthodox is a huge no-no. So, let's go ahead and see how Mr. Barliv managed to ruin his own conversion.
You were attacking their marriages.
This is an actual libel because I never once claimed that the topic was marriage, but the topic was age. He's completely turned my argument around to fit his own argument against me.
Everyone noticed I asked you questions, asked for proof and screenshots and quotes, and you can't provide them, by the way. You are making yourself look very bad. I don't know why you want to act this way, Mr. I'm a conservative Jew.
Halakhically speaking, the moment that you realized I was making myself look very, very bad was the moment that you should have disengaged. And also, again, contact me privately, which you never did, except for to let me know that you were unfriending me because I hurt your feelings. Either way, that aside, too, conflating my actions with my religion, oh, that's a big no-no, Mr. Goy.
You were claiming married people were breaking the law and evil.
Yeah, no. Never claimed that once. I claimed people going after minors are evil. They're called pedophiles. Marriage and law were not a topic that I brought up. Marriage and law was a topic that you brought up to defend people who were going after minors.
You lied on me, saying I supported ideas I never did, even after I told you I was only speaking about the psychology of the person and defending marriage itself.
Never lied on you once. You can't prove that. If you did, you would have taken a screenshot and shoved it in somewhere, which you didn't. And even if you are defending the psychology of the person, once the person finds out that they are dating a minor, the psychology doesn't matter anymore. Even if that minor looks like she's older than her age, it doesn't matter. And I was never against marriage. So again, you're defending a straw man, which at this point is something that you're pretty damn good at.
You and Santino lied and said I found the women attractive. I never once said that.
I mean, if they look like women and everything's perfectly legal, why would it matter if you found them attractive? What are you defending against? Are you insinuating that maybe it might be wrong for you to find women that young attractive? I mean, Jesus, here we go again. You're contradicting your own arguments. That put aside first, your own arguments showed that you support the idea and, in fact, the definition of pedophilia, because you say it's about how they look and not about their age, whenever pedophilia is based on their age. Second, I never once said that you found anyone attractive. Come on, Mr. Barliv, where's the receipts? I mean, I thought you were the detective in all of this, and you never did anything without bringing the receipts, so how about you unblock me and come up with that?
Make this make sense. I told you the other day you were doing evil and wrong, and you replied with, I'm a conservative Jew. Meanwhile, you just tried to twist and mishandle halakha Orthodox Judaism and use it against me here. Make it make sense.
Claiming that when I told you I'm conservative was my defense for what you consider to be wrong is a clear and concise mischaracterization of my argument.
Wait, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
My exact quote was, oh, and by the way, I'm not Orthodox, I'm conservative. Which is why you don't find me quoting Psalms and the Talmud to people who have never read it and never asked for it. Boy, oh boy, you still got that missionary spirit in you, don't you, Mr. Barliv? You must have believed in Jesus at one point.
You also listed Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
I've never insulted you once, yet there's a ton of material I could have went to.
It appears maybe you changed your name back to a Gaelic one because you couldn't pick up on the concepts of the Orthodox too quickly, because what you had written there in and of itself is an insult. Oh. Let's... For those who know the halakha behind Lashon Hara and everything else, let's go ahead and look at some of the big old no-nos that were committed here. He takes the argument from my timeline and from Mr. Mastadino's timeline and begins to post things on his own timeline to bring more people into the situation, even though he admits that apparently I'm making myself look bad in the situation. Here he posts that I'm a disgusting person. Then he says, oh, this is a nice one. I deserve to be beaten, and that whoever slanders should have their life ended by the one whom they slandered. He then admits that he got others involved, but makes the excuse that they were already on my friends lists, because, somehow that makes the halakha behind it not take place. It doesn't matter. I mean, how does that work? Someone please step in and give me a definition I'm missing here. But he says he was trying hard not to embarrass me, but decides against that and again asks other people to get involved. If you're trying not to embarrass me, why would you be trying to get other people involved? According to his own words, as you can see here, as a result of him getting his friends and family involved, people have blocked me. And an added consequence that came from him posting this on his page and bringing other people into it is supposedly I'm going to be losing 35 friends, which, I really give two flying craps if I lose friends on Facebook. It's Facebook. I have a life outside of it. But the point is that this is a consequence that's directly related to him bringing other people into it, which is showing loss as a basis from the Lashon Hara. And after all those friends supposedly block me, then one turns around and claims that I'm an ex-Jim.
Yes, I have blocked him. I did correct him before blocking him. He is a prime example of an ex-Tzion.
I don't think the Josh guy who had the original thread is an ex-Jim. Oh.
You don't think? That's cute. He's actually known my religion for a long time. And even if he claims he doesn't, he has no grounds to stand on, as in this conversation, the back and forth, I told him that I was conservative and he mocked me for it. He says he told people not to block me, but then whenever the people said that they blocked me, he likes the comment. But what's even funnier is these people never blocked me. He then personally wants to tell me that I am as disgusting of a human as possible, which I'm fairly certain that that's a no-no. But by far, what is the funniest, and probably one of the biggest reasons behind him having to change his name back to a Goy name, would be that I contacted a few of the Orthodox Rabbim, some of the Chassids to be precise, and I got their take on Lashon Hara and slander and correction. I quoted them to him, and he not only ignored it, but responded with this halakhically atrocious response.
When someone does a public sin, you have to publicly correct them. When someone attacks another person with a false claim in public, one must listen to the claim and seek evidence. If there is no evidence, it is considered evil speech, which is why everyone has to be sent to this thread, which is public by Santino and sent to yours. I'm only a Ben Noah because my conversion isn't over.
It is now.
Chavetz Chaim speaks a ton of public defense, warning the public of people who do evil and when to speak out. Might want to look it up, Josh. make this make sense. I told you the other day you are doing evil and wrong, and you reply with, but I'm a conservative Jew. Meanwhile, you just tried to twist and mishandle halakha, Orthodox Judaism, and use it against me. Make it make sense.
Again, he's lying. I did not use my religion as an excuse, and by rebuking my retortion about the halakha surrounding the situation, it's not me he's accusing of twisting the halakha, but the rabbim who told me this. Oh, and the rabbim gave me an outline of Chafetz Chaim and the 7 conditions to satisfy him being able to address what he says is my Lashon Hara publicly, and he did not follow a single one. And he condemned himself by purposefully spreading it to others when the requirements of the accused party being notified was not met. And by the accused party, I mean the people in the meme. What's even more damning for him is Chafetz Chaim said one should be approached. They should approach the transgressor, or supposed transgressor, privately and rebuke him with gentle language. Even when he did finally approach me privately, it was only for condemnation, and it was not gentle. And he also failed because what he did was technically considered a chulet. And days after blocking me, he's still posting about me, and even takes his defamation, or slander as he'd like to call it, and accuses Santino Mastodino of being my fake account. Hey, Mr. Barliv, if you're watching this, why don't you go ask your Achmiel Altman if Santino is a fake account? The final portion of this is to showcase Mr. Barliv's veiled threats. Twice, Mr. Barliv brings up that he's going to be moving into my community.
The guy that calls another man a pedophile, knowing he isn't, and knowing he's moving into the neighborhood soon, also called him a weak man. That's rich.
Again, never called him a pedophile, and he's never produced anything of me saying that he was a pedophile. I called him a pedophile apologist.
Okay. Well, I tried to reason with you. As men, there's accountability for our actions and words. It's fun and games for you to slander a man and call him a weak man when he's moving down soon into that neighborhood. I've been calm and cool and collective dealing with you. I've been more than nice in asking you to read and be responsible. Remember that.
Why do I need to be reminded that you're moving to my neighborhood soon? What about accountability? Are you going to hold me accountable? Why do I need to remember that you've been calm, or you claim you've been calm and cool? Then, Jesus. Then he goes on a tirade of telling people that I'm suicidal. Oh, and what's even better is he accuses me of slander for pointing out that he's a weak man, but then tells me and Santino that we're both suicidal and very weak and tiny men. I mean, at this point, I gotta wonder if he's running low on insulin, because that's a whole hell of a lot of hypocrisy.
Look at how you and Josh deny all the voices. You both are suicidal as can be, and very weak and tiny men. I was asking Josh, who claims to be Jewish, who is clearly suicidal, to act properly. Imagine seeing a man tell another man to think of his wife and kids, and you think I'm begging him to defend me?
Yes, I do care about my wife, which is why I'm sure that she is armed to the teeth and knows how to use God's gift of the gender equalizer, especially when there are incels like Mr. Barliv who take skits like this one seriously.
This is the 4th public post about Josh here. He's extremely suicidal.
Let's look at that why would he say I'm suicidal whenever nowhere in any of this talk did the talk of life, death, murder, any of that come up? Yet he wants to interject that I'm suicidal? Why would he say that I'm suicidal whenever no one's brought up anything about life or death? Let's look at what other nuggets Mr. Barliv left.
Slander is a serious problem today. Any man that accuses another man of this disgusting stuff isn't a man to me and deserves to be beaten by the one who slandered. In any court case, if I were a jury, I'd find a victim of this slander not guilty, even if the victim of slander ended the slanderer's life. Slander is a serious sin. It's worse than murder on cases like this. Shante.
Now, something we can all agree on is he is accusing me of slander against him by default. And by default, this is what he wants to do to me. This deranged, insulinemic Noachide dropout is taking Midrash and making it Peshat. Jesus, dude, no wonder he got dropped or got kicked out of his community. Whatever happened, I don't blame the rabbis up there, dude. I would have dropped him in a heartbeat too. The guy's nuts. There is no world or mitzvot that makes slander worthy of death in the literal. I mean, stop and think about this. The Sanhedrin was completely, they did not take death penalties lightly, which is why I believe if there was 2 deaths or one person put to death or 2 people put to death, like in a 70-year period, it was considered a bloody Sanhedrin. This guy would have been daggone Vlad the Impaler if he had been on the Sanhedrin. Anyways, now for the full throw of it all. Let's listen to our DMs back and forth, and you be the judge on how I should take all this combined. Should I be looking at this as a threat, or am I just jumping the gun?
Due to the disgusting behavior that you had posted, and due to the fact that the other man, Santino, tagged you many times in slandering me, and you said nothing, I'm going to remove you as a friend. Slander is a very serious sin. I was trying to get you to do the right thing yesterday. I was in no way supporting pedophilia, and I'm one of the first to suggest real pedos need life in prison or death sentences. The fact, however, that nothing was said, and no matter how much I posted my points, you took them way out of context, and your buddy ran on a rampant slander spree against me, even posting against me. I'm removing you as a friend. Hashem takes this very serious, Josh. I thought you were an ally in justice and an ally with Israel. This behavior on a lullaby months is not good. I don't know where your heart is, but it needs to be on Torah and not slander. Birds of a feather flock together. Look at who I'm surrounded by. They are Torah giants. I have 3 gadol of different subjects literally teaching me.
Not anymore.
I have so many Orthodox rabbis that speak with me daily. You need to fix whatever is going on. Elul is not a time to sin in public and attack Torah observant folk. Please take this serious. Get to repairing. Elul is a time for us to accept God as King and fix our sins. I'm more disgusted by the other guy, Santino, than I am at your replies. I'm unfriending and shouldn't be friends with people who clearly are making themselves my enemy. Sad but true. Please get with the rabbi. Look into my points I made and read what was said versus what you think was said. I really hope you turn from this slander. Sincerely, Tzion Barliv.
He DM'd me in private, but I responded to him openly. This is what I said. First, you're as dumb as the Extions you try to rebuke. Guess what, Sally? Slander is spoken. And even if I had spoken that meme by the definition of slander, I stated facts with an opinion. Slander requires a knowingly false statement. However, if that post does make me guilty of slander, you are guilty of the same by accusing or suggesting that those girls hid their ages from the men. Then you unfriend me because I didn't come to your rescue with Santino? Dude, I run my own business. You think I can spend my days checking my inbox? I don't have all day like you to waste my life on social media. That aside, I never got any tags from Santino. Bring the receipts or shut up. So you go and unfriend me because I said nothing. And your own words, due to the disgusting behavior that you had posted and due to the fact that other man Santino tagged you many times in slandering me and you said nothing, I'm going to remove you as a friend. Oh no, don't remove me as a friend. What a punishment. You were never a friend. We don't know each other like that, but apparently your life is so pathetic, Facebook friends are a serious thing to you. Oh, and no, I didn't notice me losing 35 Facebook friends because I have a life. You see, when your life is spent in the real world, you don't pay attention to insignificant things like Facebook friends getting butthurt because you didn't share all their opinions. Jesus Christ, get a f***ing life, you pedo apologist. And now you want to bring God into it as well and accuse me of not being for justice or Israel? Yeah, cool beans, dog. Let's look into it. You DM'd me this. Now, after reading your boasting on yourself, yes, you may be surrounded by Gadolim, but apparently they either don't know much about correction or you're just not listening. What does halakha constitute is the way to correct someone. If you follow the trail of Vayikra prohibits the oppression, and Baba Metzia extends this prohibition to others with words as well as with money. And Baba Vayikra 19:17 does say that you shall surely rebuke a friend. Sefer HaChanuch 240 prohibits that based on public embarrassment, failing to fulfill Vayikra 19:18. You could DM me to tell me how butthurt you are, but you couldn't DM me to give me guidance on what you considered slander? You chose to do it for all to see? The Rabbim I spoke with never even got to your argument. They said you wronged me by not rebuking me in private first. Does not Baba Metzia 58b say one who publicly shames his neighbor is as though he shed blood? How about 59a? Is it not better to throw oneself in the furnace than to embarrass another? Are you worthy of Malchus for publicly embarrassing me? The simple fact that you could call me out publicly but only DM me when it suited you shows me that you did it for your own gain. And now you want to argue with Santino? Good luck. That guy is the troll god, and your replies are just like digital Viagra. You cannot kill that which refuses to die. But you won't block him, and you won't block me because you live for arguing. So you can take screenshots and post it on your timeline. What a worthless existence. Oh, by the way, I'm not Orthodox. I'm conservative, which is why you don't find me quoting Psalms in the Talmud to people who never read it and never asked for it.
As men, we have consequences for our actions and words. I've asked you 30 times to reread and take accountability.
You are correct. This will be on Isaiah 43 soon enough, and they will decide.
Consequences are better happening on this world than the next, Josh. I was kind to you. I was calm. You seemed to not care that you are married and have dependents. What kind of a man does that? So you think you can destroy a person with repeating slander 60 or 70 times, and you'll be judged in the world to come for it later on? Wow. Dude, life has consequences, and you act like everyone is your personal dumpster fire, and you act like there's no fire department, and neighbors gonna put the fire out and stop you. I honestly don't care that you are suicidal or mental.
Good thing I'm not suicidal or mental then. Point is, you're a pedophile apologist and fixated on victim blaming. This has obviously got under your skin, otherwise you'd have dropped it until it got to Isaiah 43 for all to see and judge. Life does have consequences, and now a lot of people are going to know what age you're willing to defile. You have two choices. You can sit here and wallow in it by going back and forth with me, or you can present your case to the group before I do. In the end, I posted a factual meme. Even by your own definition, they were pedos, and you chose to defend the men. No wonder you're alone. Bring your argument or wait. Your choice, Cupcake. Oh, and your supposed post still isn't public.
I feel bad for your wife and kids, and especially your brother. What they must go through dealing with you. You already know I don't support relationships of adults with underage people. You already know because it's been repeated 30 times. You already know marriage is sacred, and once a minor is married, we can't say anything. You've been told 40 times. I feel sorry for your dependents. The post has been public. There's been around 14 people commenting on it about you non-stop. I considered taking it down due to your brother. You are tarnishing his reputation if anyone learned the two of you were brothers. It's been public. You also have people posting to you on Santino's page. Dude, I feel bad for your kids and wife and brother. You are as disgusting as humans can be. I'm going to block you. I gave you days to see all the comments. I gave you days to read and apologize. And I even don't need your apology. Just stop. And you can't. You are sick and suicidal. You caused a serious problem to the Jacksonville community. You know damn well everything you say is suicidal at this point. No, not Shantae.
Now, through the years, I've had plenty of people threaten me, and it doesn't bother me. And yes, telling me I'm suicidal and then telling me that there are consequences in this world for speech, that's a direct threat. Where he fucked up was by bringing my family into it. Look, I've seen his page and how he feels about women and how he would treat women. Me calling him an incel was not a cheap shot or an insult. It was me saying that he appears to be part of the involuntarily celibate community. Because apparently it doesn't really look like any woman could stand him. So I don't put it past this incel to just be a threat to myself. So, Brian, if you're watching this, probably best that you stay out of my community, out of my county, and out of my state. If I see you here, I'm going to assume you're here to make good on your threats. Because one of the quickest ways to skip the clearance aisle and go straight to discontinued would be to threaten consequences against my family. Because of all your barking, all I can do is assume that you are capable of the violence you brag about, and I will act accordingly with you based on how you've presented yourself. You want to sit here and act like a victim of slander when I brought facts, and unlike you, my argument was consistent and unchanging. And the things you posted after about lashing out and being violent show you are not the pious person you want everyone to think you are. The perfect example is you accuse me of slander and then turn around and tell all your friends Santino is my fake account. That's actual defamation, Brian, and Lashon Hara. And what's even worse is when presented with the actual halakha from the rabbis, you deny their teachings and claim that they're mine. Baruch Hashem, the Rabbim saw through you, and you were outed for who you really are before you ever got to the Jacksonville community and sowed your seeds of non-stop argumentative nature and misandric personality. Despite what you've said, I've done no harm to the Jacksonville community as I'm not part of it because I'm not Orthodox. You, however, brought this to the Jacksonville community members who had nothing to do with it. Jesus, Brian, you are a real winner. Maybe it's time for some self-evaluation. You know, you sat here and kept on saying you're putting me in Hashem's hands. And guess what? Hashem has blessed me beyond necessity. Why hasn't he with you? Here's a life tip. Voicing your opinion is like crossing the road. You need to look both ways, because the only person who would have thought those girls looked older than the men they were dating was Helen Keller. Now, I'm not unreasonable. If you think I did to your argument what Disney did to Star Wars, I give you the opportunity to come on this channel live and make your argument and clear your name. Otherwise, think of where you go and what you say, and if it's possible, try to actually be a good human being.